The narrow gauge engines of the Carson City and California Eastern enjoy the tales of past Nevada narrow gauge history. One of their favorites was about an old 460 from the Nevada and California Railroad numbered 15 that once ran on the Carson and Colorado line. Eureka, however, doesn't enjoy these tales mainly because they seem immature. One day, Eureka and Palisade No. 4 Eureka was assigned to take a short train to the Bell Palace in Silver Springs, Nevada. A wedding event is to take place there, and since it was cheaper to transport the supplies by train, Eureka was given the opportunity to have a long run. At Carson City, the No. 4 waited for the Virginian truckie carrying the wedding supplies. However, time was passing on and the sun was already going down, making the 440 agitated. "Come on, where are the supplies? I need to get to Silver Springs before it's pitch dark. This can't be afforded on my old Eureka and Palisade Railroad."
Do you want me to take the train? I have enough water and coal to make it there.
Actually, I'm good, thanks. Eureka had enough cordwood and water for the journey to Silver Springs. Soon the Virginian truckie train arrived with the supplies in the late afternoon as the other narrow gauge engines returned from work. Soon they started telling others about the tales of engines that left a legacy in narrow gauge history. Nevada and California 460 No. 15 used to work on the Keeler branch and was retired in January 1934. Crews reported that No. 15 was the best out of all the other South Pacific Coast 460 engines, that he was always chosen for passenger service. At night, some say that if you encounter an old 10-wheeler with the No. 15, then you will be granted to be pulling special excursions forever. Trust me, I actually worked with this engine in the early 1930s, but I feel like he's still here somewhere. I got a more important job to do than believe in some Keeler fairy tale. I wouldn't like having to run at night. There can be 100 things that can happen, and I wouldn't want to know. Well, you sure are a little irritated. A good night run will make your boiler feel better, I guess. Soon the supplies were loaded onto Eureka's train, and then he steamed off quickly. It soon got dark as the No. 4 trundled down the line. There is no such thing to prove 15's granted luck. It's probably one of the childish tales I've ever heard. At least for now, it's peaceful than those engines throwing insults at one another for one small detail. Soon, the No. 4 had to stop at a lonely yard to load up more cordwood and water. Both his engine and caboose crew went to do the duties. As Eureka waited, he started hearing weird noises. What the heck is that? Oh dang, I told you we should have waited into next morning, but just load up the wood. There's nothing to be worried about. Alright. Eureka kept an eye out for where the weird sounds were coming from. He noticed there was a person with a flashlight in the distance and didn't think much of it. Alright, we're all loaded up. We can continue our journey. Thank goodness, I thought something was gonna happen. All of a sudden, the person in the distance started sprinting at the 1875 built 440. Oh, piss! We have to run. Hurry up, someone's chasing us. Alright, calm down, I'm opening the throttle now. Eureka left instantly and wanted to get his job over with as soon as possible. However, up the line, a switch was positioned wrong to an abandoned line. Earlier, Nevada Shortline No. 1 took some flat cars that were stored previously but forgot to flip the switch due to being short on time. Both Eureka and his crew were in a panic that they didn't bother checking and were going deep down the abandoned line. We gotta find civilization. We can't be all alone tonight. Hold on, I don't remember going toward the mountains. Eureka's crew was right, but he didn't believe it until they came across a row of bushes. Oh crap! Stop now! Eureka crashed through the bushes and stopped in time to prevent a derailment. When Eureka looked around, he noticed something obstructing in front of him. What is that? Whoa, Eureka, it looks like you found something interesting. That looks like an old tender, but from who? The crew decided to check out the isolated tender, and they were delighted to tell the Eureka. Eureka, you won't believe this. The tender displayed the number 15, and it quickly connected the idea that it was from the Nevada and California 460 numbered 15. This would be one great surprise for the wedding event, but we must keep it hidden until then. Anyways, we must get back on the job. I must get back to my home by midnight. I'm hopeful no one knows about it. So then, Eureka puffed back to where he was diverted and continued on to the Bell Palace. Overnight, Eureka will be stationed over there as his crew would take a Uber back to Sparks, Nevada. Sparks wasn't too far from Silver Springs. The next afternoon, Eureka took 2 flat cars and a boxcar as to depict his train as maintenance of way. This is awkward, but we must convince others that we're inspecting the line. You sure are correct, old number 4. We're gonna retrieve the tender and head straight to the palace as fast as we can. Eureka, what are you doing on that line? It's been abandoned for decades. I've been told to inspect the line for the consideration of abandonment. Weird, but alright. I'm taking more supplies and volunteers for the wedding event. Perfect, let's go! The 1875 440 went to retrieve the tender from the lost locomotive numbered 15. After several preparations, Eureka was ready to take the tender out. Suddenly, he heard a whistle, and the only thing that the 440 thought was that his surprise might get ruined. Crew, we should get going. Someone might be following us. I'm releasing the brakes. We're gonna get away. The number 4 started to race down the hill without hesitation. He knew that if an engine tries to spoil the surprise, he won't be special anymore. Eureka, what the hell are you doing? Doing something! Eureka was going way beyond the limit. Up ahead, Uintah Railway 12 was hauling lumber cars in the opposite direction. Out of nowhere, a switchman diverted Eureka onto a siding. The crew jumped out just as the number 4 crashed into a set of freight cars. Oh damn, I'm so doomed. I hope no one is hurt. We are fine, but you did a lot of damage and you blocked the line.
Eureka, are you okay? And what's that you're hauling?
You know, this was a surprise for the wedding event. I wanted to be the star of the event for finding this piece. It's an old tender. What's so special about it? The number 4440 told the story about his last night discovery. The engines and crews were interested. I'll hold the surprise into the event. I can take it to the Bell Palace. It's my pleasure to take this thing.
And I'll go get the crane and yard master.
After several hours, the line was cleared. Rosalinda came to talk to the old number 4. I don't appreciate that you caused a major inconvenience and damage to my property. Regardless, I'm grateful that no one was seriously injured. I know, but it's a tender that came from a lost locomotive. I understand, Eureka. Anyways, we have a long day tomorrow. You should head back to Carson City now. The wedding event took place the following day. Southern Pacific Narrow Gauge 18 and number 8 took the wedding guests with every available passenger car that was serviceable. The bridesmen and bridesmaids were transported by respective vehicles to the event. After the marriage proposals and during the dances, Rosalinda made an announcement. Sorry for the interruption, but I'll try to make it quick. One of our engines has found a special piece that came off a narrow gauge engine that used to work on the Carson, Colorado line in the early 20th century. This reveal is dedicated to all the wedding guests, the engines here, and all of those who made the event happen. The number 15's tender was revealed. Everyone clapped and cheered, the engines blew their whistles and rang their bells, but Eureka was the happiest of all. After all, we all are something special to this railroad and this wedding event.